Three people.
Excellent.
Ready.
Okay.
And I changed two people's names so we can address stating names.
Okay, that makes more sense because I was like, this is looking different. Um, so it is Wednesday, January 29th, 2025. It is 12:32. This is the Board of Directors special meeting for the Windham School District, and I will call the meeting to order. First on the agenda will be public comment. Is there anyone that is here for public comment? I see two people who need to identify themselves, so I don't know. If one of you could
Tom
unmute,
Woodruff.
Tom Widger, thank you. And there's another individual, Ginny Crittenden. Thank you, Ginny. Okay, so anyone have public comment? All right, we'll move on to changes to the agenda. There are a couple items I wanted to add on that are brief. Stevens Associates had a meeting today that was coordinated with Kathy Edgerly. They were going to have a meeting today due to the inclement weather. It's been rescheduled. So we'll add that under new business after the survey talk. And also under new business, Phil Scott changes to education in Vermont. So just a brief kind of talk about that. So moving into, do you have any changes, Daniel? Anything you
No,
want to add?
I'm
No?
glad you
Okay.
added the
Uh,
Phil Scott
yeah, just
conversation.
it'll be quick. So going into new business. So survey, I sent out a survey to families of emails that I had. I also sent out the survey to, I forwarded it to Bob, who forwarded it to the principal at Townsend to share with communities there that are from Windham to get the families' feedback about how things have been going. So, so far we've had 9 responses, and it's really we're getting some really good feedback. So, I would encourage folks that the deadline for that is February 2nd. So we'll have a full delve into kind of like information that was received at our next regular scheduled meeting. But just for folks to know that it's official email that's been sent out from me to generate some data that we can really take a look at and see if there's things we can do better. Now, the Stevens and Associates. So that meeting is moved to Wednesday, February 5th at 12:30 p.m. here at the school building. They had a meeting last week, I believe. And I think that went well. I spoke with Kathy and it sounded like they had a few folks that attended. So I would encourage people to attend the next meeting if you have interest in contributing to ideas of how this building can benefit the town in some way, shape, or form, and share your ideas so that can get added into the feasibility study. And then the quick thing on Phil Scott is there's been a lot of changes going on in how education is going to look throughout our state. And I just wanted to take the opportunity to let families know if anybody's watching these meetings, please be paying attention. There's going to be likely a lot of changes in the pipeline and think about how that's going to impact communities like ours. And is there stuff that this district can support while we're here? So moving on to old business, adopt and amend articles for town meeting. So the changes that I spoke with our attorney and the changes that were made were to reflect Article 2 and what that meant, as well as it is now Article 9 because of these changes. So Article 2 now states, and
Do
before
you
I
have,
get into it, Dan, could you maybe share the screen of it?
yeah, I was about to say, do you want me to pull this up and
Oh,
we
that'd be
edit it
great.
live?
Go team.
All right, hold on 1 second. All right.
Perfect. Okay, so Article 2 can now be seen saying, shall the electorate of the Windham School District ratify the district's longstanding practice of designating the Windham Town Treasurer as the treasurer of the Windham School District, as is authorized by 16 VSA 426A, and shall the electorate of the Windham School District recognize, and agree to be bound by the 3-year term of the Windham Town Treasurer as has previously established by vote of the electorate of the town of Windham in accordance with 17 VSA 26463. So to more layman's terms of what this means is by default of these statutes, the town treasurer is defaulted to the school district treasurer. It was unclear if in the past our district had made some vote to independently have their own treasurer for a year term, which would have matched a town year term, but our town had also elected to make our treasurer a 3-year term. So that's where all that language comes into play. But I think it's very clear in that it's really requesting the town that we're going to follow how the treasurer's term is now, and that we will default to the town treasurer as the district treasurer. So I hope that makes sense. And then because of that, Article 3 to elect officers required by law to be elected at the Windham School, where the school district treasurer 1-year term ending in 2026. This was the concern with the auditors that it was a 3-year term. The idea was it was matching the treasurer's term, so that's why it seemed off. But if Article 2 fails and it's decided that we don't want to have that, or the town decides that, then we do have to still elect a treasurer for a 1-year term. So that's another edit. And then because
let's stop at that one real fast.
Sure.
So do we need another, because we don't have anything for actually electing the 3-year. So we probably need something like this, where if this fails, then this. Otherwise, the 3-year term. So we still need to have the it would match what
right, it would match the town. So which is statute. That's how it just works. But because we have the language and have historically had the language of year to year, it didn't translate when the 3-year change was made to the town. And so now we're really just putting it out there to make everything clear that we're going to follow that statute and match, so that when the town treasurer is voted, that the town treasurer will then be the school district treasurer. So we wouldn't in the future have to have the article of the school district treasurer, because it's going to be synonymous with the town.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay.
And then because it bumped us up in articles, Article 8 is now Article 9. And this is no longer vague. It is very clear. So, shall the voters of the Windham School District authorize the sale of the school building to the town of Windham for $1 on the condition that the school building is used for community and/or educational purposes for at least 5 years, and on the further condition that if the town stops using the school building during this time for such purposes, the school building will be sold back to the district for $1. If during the 5-year period following the sale of the school building to the town, the school board believes that the school building is not being used for community or educational purposes, it will so notify the town select board, and in the notification, the school board shall name an individual to serve as a member of a 3-person panel to adjudicate the issue. Under such circumstances, the select board shall promptly name a second individual to the 3-person panel, and the 2 designated panel members shall name the 3rd member of the panel. If the school board and select board panelists cannot agree on the 3rd member, the 3rd member of the panel shall be chosen by the then presiding judge of the Civil Division of the Windham Unit of the Vermont Superior Court. The decision of the majority of the panel on the issue shall be binding on the parties. So I think for folks that were really not sure about, we did get the feedback. I know folks even mentioned at the select board meeting concerns that they had. So this was really worked on to get some better language to hopefully make sure it's as clear as possible to folks. So any discussion on that, Dan, or anybody that's on the meeting?
Yeah, I'm kind of soaking it all in.
I know it's wordy, but it allows essentially what it's stating is that the resource of this building that we have taken care of for 50 some odd years, if there's a sale, then that funding of that sale should be to the district because it's been in the district. So to
Mm,
have it over for $1 to or sell the building for $1 really is with this language in here is just ensuring that if something was to happen and things went and we had to look at selling the building, that the revenue from that would remain within the district because it's the district's building. So I don't know if folks have thoughts on that or want to contribute anything with that. Um,
I think I think it's a lot to take in. I also think that it is more clear. Some from the school district, someone from the select board, and then a third that they jointly choose, hopefully. And then, if not, a judge, and then they will make a decision as a panel. Okay. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, I move to adopt the amended articles for town meeting as written here.
Abby.
Second.
Oh,
Yes,
sorry. This is Ginny. Um,
go
I
ahead, Jenny.
I just would like you to clarify what the meaning of educational is, if you can, because maybe there. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just that there's so many possibilities that could be educational or
Yep,
not.
exactly.
Do you have do you have a definition of what that means?
So, I think it's all encompassing to allow a little flexibility, but it's
Mhm.
a lot of things can be captured in that. And I'm looking forward to um, seeing what the feasibility study brings forward. And I
Okay.
think that a lot of what will come out of that is definitely going to meet that criteria. So, um,
Yeah.
I'm not worried about there being something
Okay. Great.
that's going
Thank
to
you.
be put forward that wouldn't. But if there was, this is really just making sure um, the building and everything
Yeah.
stays with the district to some capacity if it needs to be sold. Michael Pelton, I see your hand raised.
Let me let me jump in here. I think this next part really addresses like this fact, like that we can codify what community and educational purposes is, or better describe it. But ultimately, if the school board are putting forth a challenge that it's not being used, that that the then school board within this 5 year term would outline how it's not being used for community nor educational purposes. And then
Mhm.
there's checks on that of having a select board and a third, hopefully non-partial member. So it then becomes more checks and balances of, well, the way that the school board just challenged the select board or the town district, maybe it is educational what has been used for the purposes as determined by the panel. Is kind of how I'm reading it. Which, yeah, I think that's elegant. I think this could be firmed up, but maybe since there's this check and balance built into it, it becomes less a priority because we'll have equal representation of the school board, the select board, as well as hopefully a third non-partial member. So yeah,
Okay.
Does that help you, Jenny?
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks very much.
You're welcome. Michael Pelton, go ahead.
Um, I think uh, the article is interesting. Unfortunately, it's so wordy and kind of gaudy, but it is what it is. I think it's important and appropriate that it's got a system to mediate if there's a need for mediation. I think it's also important for us to realize that there's a couple processes that sort of can take place that sort of could clarify that. The important piece is that the building itself, the article itself really is about authorizing the school district to sell it to the town to ensure that we don't lose the building. Because as you know, if the state chooses to consolidate, which looks like that's the direction they're going, and they consolidate all the districts, that means that any property that our district currently owns becomes theirs. So I think it's pretty important that we as a town purchase the building if the town has a desire to have the building. I think it's also important for us to think about where that revenue goes. If we choose to sell the building, whether it's the district and or the town, that revenue, it's important that that revenue stays in town, right? Whether it goes to the town budget in terms of the select board and the greater overall general fund, or the district, it's important that it stays here versus the state capturing the building and therefore being able to sell it and then they get the money. We've put in approximately 50 years of investment as a school district into the building. It would be a shame to lose it. I think that the contingency is sort of important just to ensure that if we do sell the building, or if the school district chooses to sell the building, or however it works out, that the money is put in the box that is has the most impact on taxpayers. And currently, the most bang for the buck of any potential revenue would be the educational or an educational offset in terms of the school budget. Because for every dollar we spend as a school district, we currently send an extra dollar and change to Montpelier, and that would be a shame to lose that value in that building. In terms of the definition of community and or educational purposes, I think it's okay that it's sort of generic and broad. I think if you look at statute all across the government, there's a lot of vagueness, and it's sort of there on purpose. I think that it sort of leaves a lot for the town to think about using the building for. Let's put it that way, and I think that's an okay thing. And thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Michael. Good points there.
Yeah.
So,
and I think it's, just to reinforce what Michael's saying, I think it's a good thing because it leaves it vague, yes, but it's up to this panel, which is identified and has this representation across the boards and the community that really will go through that issue and hopefully bring the town in, have meetings and things like that. So yeah, I agree. Is if we set really hard standards on what community and educational purposes mean, like that could get pretty hairy. Whereas we can let the process go through if it was challenged, which I think we talked about. I don't envision it being challenged, but who knows in 5 years, and who knows who is on the board even. So yeah, I agree.
okay. Well, I don't see any other hands up, and we do have the motion on the table to adopt the amended articles.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right, so these, what we need to do, Daniel, is we both need to get them signed today, so I can run over to the town office and have them sign, or have them sign. I'll sign it for them. And if you can get down there sooner than later, because I think they've been waiting on us for it. And I think we've covered everything for today. So we're going to look forward to our next meeting, February 13th. We should have some survey information that'll be available from what's been gathered from families who have had kids kind of all over the place. And the Stevens and Associates meeting will have taken place. Again, encourage folks to go. They offer it virtually as well. That would be Wednesday, February 5th at 12:30 p.m. For the Stevens and Associates meeting here at the schoolhouse. So without further ado, Daniel, would you like the honors or would you like me to?
You can, but I just want to address something. So Meredith Block, our minute taker, was asking if Jan, if you can send the recording to us. I'm not sure how that usually works. I'm not recording, and I think you are. We might have to take
Somebody
it off.
was recording.
Sorry about that. So what is it you need me to send to you? Sorry, I was writing some things down.
No. Meredith, our minute taker, was asking if you could send the recording to her.
I believe Helena usually sends that out.
So I
Zoom
guess
recording, please.
Yep, I could work through Helena, see if she can get it to you, or at least get me your email. But we'll get it to you either way.
And I believe, Meredith, just so you know, I did ask that when those come out for you to be included on that. So you'll get it just like when we get it. But maybe even sooner, I'm not sure. But Helena always is the one that sends it out to us. So.
All right.
All right. And is it Jan or Jan?
Oh, that's a good point.
It's Jan.
Jan, okay.
My bad. My bad.
Thank you, Jan. And without further ado, it is 12:55 and I motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, guys, stay warm. It looks like it might have stopped snowing for a second. It's been a doozy out there. So stay warm and stay safe. We'll see you February 13th.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.